Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Come on in, come on in. Hi, Instagram. Just trying to get my Facebook and YouTube to get started. So I try to do everything on one platform, on one screen last week, but I noticed that the Instagram wasn't very clear. So for now, I'm going to continue with two different screens. That's why I always go back and forth. And then once Instagram can figure out how to merge with the others, we'll be able to do it. Good morning, boss lady. Good morning, official Itzy. I'm not sure if you're on Facebook or YouTube and you can see me. Please comment and let me know you can see me because I'm getting an error message, although I'm seeing a check mark. So if you can see me on there, you can definitely let me know. So my name is Aisha Chidola. I'm an immigration lawyer. I represent clients all over the U.S. with their immigration matters. We handle humanitarian and family-based immigration cases. So if you have an immigration need, this is the time to file. I'm sure you guys, are all seeing what is happening right now in the United States. Honestly, at this point, everyone is just keeping hope alive. Like, we don't know what the next couple of months are going to look like. We don't know what the next who the next president is going to be. But one thing we know for sure is that former President Trump specifically said that he is going to conduct the biggest mass deportation that we've ever seen in our lives if he becomes the president. So this is not fear mongering. This is something that he himself has said and has made a platform. This man was assassinated, not assassinated, forgive me. They attempted to assassinate him while he specifically was talking even about immigration. So this is a very big part of his platform. So you definitely want to apply. If you're eligible for something, please do not wait. This is not about me. You don't have to hire me. Go hire whoever you want to hire. But if you're eligible for an immigration benefit, if you're eligible to naturalize and become a U.S. citizen, do not dilly-dally. Go and get your citizenship. If you're eligible to get a green card, do not dilly-dally. Go and get it. If you have a loved one that you're dilly-dallying about, dragging your feet, giving her or him their I-864, your financial affidavit of support, sponsoring them, like, it's akin to abuse, honestly, in this era if you're not helping your spouse get their status, because they could be deported. I mean, you've already seen if in President Biden's administration, Florida can pass the kind of law it's passed as far as what they're doing to immigrants right now. Imagine a presidential regime that is extremely anti-immigration. I'm very hopeful that, we will not have that, depending on whatever I don't really care what anybody else's political influence or affluence is, but this is not the time in the world of immigration to dilly-dally, because we just don't know what's going to happen to immigrant clients, come January. Okay, off the podium on that, let's get right into it and let me answer some questions. Simply says, how much is your consultation fee? It's $150. Queen Tyler Dan says, Queen Kamala to the front. Yes, that's why I got my pearls on today. I'm not wearing my chucks, but I'm wearing flats. In support of her. I am definitely team anyone that is pro-immigrant rights, pro-human rights, pro-humanity, for sure. Is the I-485 adjustment of status fee for VAL? Is there, I guess you're asking, is there an I-485 adjustment fee for VAL when filing for kids? No. So if you're submitting a VAL application, all filing fees are free, including appeals. Which is a great thing that happened in April, where no longer fees for VAWA. Okay. Okay. What does it mean if it says name was updated on I-360? It means exactly that. It means either you had maybe they spelled your name wrong, a middle name that wasn't there before, they added it or whatever. It just means that either you submitted something and where they saw that the name was different from what they had on file and they updated it, or they noticed it on their own and fixed that. How long does advanced parole renewals take for valid cases? Same time. Most renewals take anywhere from like 6 to 12 months. So it's always good if your advanced parole or your work permit is about to expire, that you try to renew it at least 180 days before the expiration, just so that, you can kind of make a smooth transition. Okay, so this one says, good morning. I always watch your videos. I have a VAWA approval. How long will it take to have the news for the I-485? Just depends, but I would say between 2 to 6 months on average for you to hear from your field office. So depending on what you submitted with your VAWA, if you're just getting a VAWA approval, it's likely that you didn't submit the medical, since back then people weren't submitting medicals because they would have expired. So you most likely get, you most likely get a request for evidence for your medical, or they will ask you to bring it in to the office for an interview. Okay. Can a green card holder file for an undocumented immigrant who overstayed their visa? So a green card holder can file an I-130 for someone who has overstayed their time. They can only file an adjustment of status for them if that person has not overstayed and if visas are current. But because you've specifically said that that person has overstayed, that means they're not eligible to file an adjustment of status, only an I-130. An I-130, once you get your priority date, you have to wait until you're eligible, and then you have to do a 601 waiver, 601A, I'm sorry. And then if that waiver is approved, then you would have to go consular process outside the country. There are other options if that person is eligible for a T visa because they've been a victim of human trafficking, or a U visa because they've been a victim of a serious crime, or if they're eligible to self-petition as a VAWA applicant, either based on extreme cruelty from a parent or from a spouse. Okay. Okay. After a VAWA green card, when can I apply for citizenship? 3 or 5 years. So you typically can apply for a green card. I say green card for citizenship, 3 years after a VAWA approval. Okay. My mom filed an I-130 for me and included my 22-year-old son. Is that going to be a problem, or does my son need a separate I-130 application? Well, your son has already aged out. She has to list, they list names where your son has already aged out if it was filed for after that age. So he will not likely get a visa to come here, unfortunately. Good morning. Thanks for all you do. My VAWA is more than 3 years now, and I got my work permit renewed. I got another prima facie again this month. Good for you. Are you asking a question? Because I'm not sure if you're asking me a question. Okay. Let me answer some Instagram questions. How long is the wait after your VAWA prima facie determination letter is received? Are you asking how long is the wait for your VAWA approval, or how long is the wait for your prima facie? On average, most prima facie cases take 3 to 5 months. If there's no prima facie in 3 to 5 months, or maybe I would say usually after 8 months, we want to understand why there's no prima facie determination letter at our firm. It means that there's something that's deficient in your application. And generally we want USCIS to tell us, well, what is deficient so that can be fixed. So if that's the question you're asking, that's kind of the answer. If it's related to VAWA, it doesn't really matter where you get your prima facie. Most VAWA cases take anywhere from 2 to 3 years, unless you're eligible for an expedited and they grant you an expedited, and they may review your case faster. Okay. I have a question. I have a husband with a green card. We're married 2 years now, and I put in my papers. Would I have to go back to my home country? If you are not in status, you will have to go back to your home country, unless a few things. Unless you can show that you entered the country without papers, like you weren't inspected, like you crossed the border, you were not inspected by land, air, or sea, and you can show that you've been here for more than 10 years. So that's one way. You'll be able to start applying for that on August 19th. We're still waiting to see what forms or what they're going to need. The only other option is if you were currently in status. Let me give you an example. We have a case where, I think I mentioned this 2 weeks ago or last week, in the month of August, the visa bulletin has moved. It has shifted. We've been waiting for this shift, where if you had an I-130 with a priority date before June 15th of 2024 here, and you're here in the United States, and you're currently in status because you came here like on a visa. Let's say, let me paint a scenario. Like, let's say your husband filed an I-130 for you while you were outside the country, for example, and this was filed before June 15th of this year. And then you came into the country on like a tourist visa, for example. And while you're here on a tourist visa, you're like, you know what, I want to stay here. Your husband is a green card holder. In that case, in this month of June, your husband can actually file an adjustment of status, because the visa bulletin allows you to file an adjustment of status. Now, is it going to take you the same time as someone who's married to a U.S. citizen to get your green card approved? Most likely no, but it allows you to be here in a period of unauthorized stay and to be able to do an I-485, which allows you to get a work permit, travel permit, and social security number until the visas become available. So you have to fall into that category of where your visa entry is currently in status, meaning, let's say your I-94 says 6 months, you're still within the 6 months of that timeline. Okay. Okay. I put in my application for a 10-year green card last year, but this year my husband doesn't want to file for me anymore. What can I do? Call our office. We're happy to screen you and see if you're eligible to self-petition or if there's any other humanitarian basis in which you can file. Can a green card holder write a letter of affidavit of support for someone else? Yes. How long does the process of getting naturalized take? Naturalization, I would say it's very different in every field office. Every state or field office has kind of their own local timeline, but I would say that it can be anywhere from 2 months to 14 months. So you can fall anywhere within that window. We're definitely seeing some movement where naturalized cases are moving a bit quicker, like around 6 months after we apply, they're getting called for their citizenship interviews and getting approved. So, take that, that as, whatever you need to. What is the meaning of initial evidence? It means that you're probably talking about a request for additional evidence that you get. So it's the initial request that they send you. Sometimes some people get multiple RFEs depending on what it is. And someone might think, well, what circumstance or what case can you get, multiple RFEs? An example of that would be, let's say you have a valid case and, they request like your medicals, and then you send your medical. And when you send your medical, they realize, when you submitted your VAWA, that was the time that they were not using the I-864 forms. And now they're using the I-864 forms. In that case, they will send another RFE, asking for that. I've submitted my documents, my I-485 to USCIS for almost a month now, but I haven't heard anything. What could be happening? That's a normal timeline. It takes 4 to 6 weeks for most receipts. As long as you have proof, I would hope that when you submitted your application, that you had proof of mailing and proof of receipt and proof of delivery, and if you had all that, then they received it. Now, receiving does not mean accepting. So they can receive it and go through your files and say, this file is deficient, and they will send it back to you. If they're sending your files back to you, it can take several months for them to send it back to you, like 2, 3 months from when you submitted it. So just keep watching it. But in under 4 weeks, that's not a cause of concern. What if you placed on your documents that you were working when initially you weren't supposed to because you were illegal? So you're asking, if you're working under the table, how does that affect you as an applicant for a green card? So if you are an immediate relative, meaning the person petitioning for you is your U.S. citizen spouse, your U.S. citizen parent, if you're a child under 21, or your U.S. citizen child who's over 21 petitioning for you. If you fall into that category, USCIS will forgive you for working under the table. The other people included in this are humanitarian-based cases. If you are working under the table as a VAWA applicant to support yourself or a T or U, USCIS will forgive you for working. It is better and always important that you're honest in your application as opposed to lying, especially in a case like this where it is not detrimental to your application. The most important thing, and I say this all the time, is, I just lost my train of thought reading another comment. What was I saying? Okay, yeah, the most important thing is, if you are working without papers, you should never, ever, ever write on any document that you're a U.S. citizen. You should never, ever use a U.S. citizen social security number, because these are considered false claims to citizenship, and it's basically a kiss your green card or citizenship goodbye. Okay? As long as you don't do that, you're good. Alicia Alik Apartment says, VAWA saved my life. Thank you. And all the good VAWA lawyers out there. Oh, that's so good. I'm so happy to hear that. Zeus says, can I get back my green card instead of a working permit? I came here with a green card 20 years ago, but I committed some crime and they took my green card. I don't know. It just depends on, what the crime is. Some crimes, have a permanent bar, so it all depends. Okay. My sister's VAWA was approved since the 1st of April. When do you think she'll get an RFE for medicals or an interview? Thank you. I have no idea when she's going to get one, but you want to definitely check, because it's May, June, July. So remember I told you, it could take 2 to 6 months. After 6 months, you definitely just want to do an inquiry and just check and, make sure. Adewale says, good morning. Why does immigration ask for police clearance after doing biometrics in VAWA case? That's just the rules. That's just the rules of, VAWA applications, where they want 3 years of good moral character, and they want that clearance even though they're doing biometrics. I have a VAWA application pending for me and my child, but my child's father is a U.S. citizen. If a father files for her, would it affect my VAWA case that is pending? No, it's not going to affect your VAWA case that's pending. What's the meaning of changing dates? 1 minute it shows 2 months into decision, then it shifts to 5 months. What would be the cause of the shifting? Honestly, you should ask USCIS. I don't know. But, my suspicion is, they maybe overshoot. They think it's going to take 2 months, and then they realize they have a lot on their plate and they need more time. But, I can't really give you the answer. So you would have to find out from USCIS. But it's annoying, I know. My daughter filed an I-130 and an I-485 for her dad and I in March. I received my green card 3 weeks ago, and her dad is still pending. What do I think? I think it's fine. You don't always have to get it at the exact same time. I'm sure his is forthcoming, so I wouldn't, worry too much about that. What can happen to someone who was raped while working illegally in the United States? Well, rape is a crime, and so they should be filing for a U visa. and then who raped them can also determine whether or not like they may be eligible for a trafficking T visa case. But first and foremost, if they were raped, I hope that the law enforcement is involved because that's truly devastating, and they should be filing for a U visa. Okay. Can American citizen file for a person who has overstayed? Yes, an American citizen can file for someone who has overstayed. A green card holder can file for someone who has overstayed as well. It's just that the process is going to look a little different and it's going to take a longer time, and where you finish your process might be different. Can I apply for a marriage-based green card if my J1 waiver is still pending? It depends on what stage that your J1 is pending. My boyfriend overstayed his tourist visa. He would like to start a life here. Is our only option to get married in order for him to stay here? I'm an American citizen. He has no immediate family here. It is one of your options if you guys are ready to get married and see yourselves being married in the future, not just marrying because of immigration. Other options, of course, would be if he's eligible for any of the other humanitarian bases, like T or U visa. Tunji needs to talk to me. Definitely call the office and schedule a consultation, 407-995-6567. If you have a conditional green card and your husband and you have a 1-year protection, can you remove conditions on your own? And now my husband's divorce. I'm not sure I understand the question, but are you talking about like a protection order? If that's the case, the answer is yes, you can file for removal of condition with the waiver of filing with your spouse if you are able to show there's extreme cruelty happening in the marriage, or there's a divorce, or you're able to show extreme hardship. Hattie Toller, I put in my application for 10 years green card. This is my last question, guys. This year, my husband doesn't want to file for me anymore. He already filed for withdrawal. What can I do? Call our office. Let's screen you and see if you're eligible to self-petition. If you are, we'll be able to convert your original application or do a self-petition for you. All right, guys. Nice chatting with you all. If you want to schedule a consultation, call 407-995-6567. The number is in my profile. It's also on my website and everywhere else, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You can also send a WhatsApp to 404-333-8751. We do not take phone calls on WhatsApp. So you can leave a message, and usually it will auto-generate our phone number there for you to call us or for us to call you back. All right, guys, have an amazing day, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.